This video is for people that are trying to do something with their Scout 800 and may have some questions on how to do things, because I know I've had to fight a lot of this, but I do have some experience with fabricating and doing a lot of things on my own. I know how to weld and take care of things that need to be done on my own. So basically what you have here is a 1965 International Scout 800. I bought it, it's pretty rough, floor was shot, had to go in and replace just about everything, all the way interiorly. The bed in the back was shot. I'm still working on that, but I've got the bottom done for the bed and the side walls. Got the floors all replaced. They were shot all the way up to the firewall. Had to replace everything. The frame was in decent shape. That's why I decided to keep it. The 152 that's in here runs pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. I plan on putting a bigger carburetor on it. If I don't go with the bigger carburetor, I'm thinking of going with another motor. Have another motor that I could put in here, give it more horsepower, more power. But I think that gears can do the same thing that a higher horsepower motor will do, that eats more gas. If I just lower my gears and change the gears in my transfer case, that I think will do the same thing, along with a new carburetor and ignition system, maybe from MSD. But as it stands right now, I can roll up over 2-foot logs if I give it some juice before I hit it. But it manages to get over it. What we have here is I took the bumper, made it from a piece of tube steel, cut and angled it and capped it, welded it all back together, put some D-rings on it to help pull out, in case I do get stuck. I have Dana 44 axles underneath it. The Dana 44s are out of a 75 International Scout 2, which is where the springs came from. Built my own drag link. I cut the end off of the original and re-welded another piece of chromoly steel across it, and put a gusset in the center with a Heim joint on the end. You have to turn the wheel, and find out how many rotations it takes for you to get to it. And I came up with 2 7/8 turns from center in order to get the turning radius right, even though the gearbox needs to be changed for the Scout 2 axles that are underneath here. It's got the longer knuckles, but the gear ratio in the Scout 800 gearbox is incorrect, and it won't allow you to turn all the way. I can only turn fully in one direction. I can't turn fully in the other direction. So that's an issue that I have to resolve, but it is drivable, drives well. Besides that, I have totally rebuilt gears in here. Everything except for the housing is new. New ball joints and seals and carrier bearings and gears and seals. Everything is new. New U-joints in the front axles. I also have new U-bolts. I added a track bar in here that runs from the top of the axle housing, from the differential all the way up to the frame side, so that it gives it a better drivability connectively. I moved the springs forward 2.5 inches in order to get my wheels where I wanted them, off of the original location. I had to cut all the old perches off and remake my own, and I made my own my own shackles and all. Drives great. I bought longer leaf spring perches from a company by the name of Rough Stuff Specialties that are 8 inches long, and it allows for less spring wrap, and just allows me to not tear up my springs, basically, or warp them. This has a 152cc motor in it, by the way. Very low horsepower, and I plan on making that better hopefully in the future. This has 37, excuse the mess, I just went four-wheeling yesterday in this thing. It has 37, 14, 15 tires and rims on it, made by Super Swamper. They're IROX. I put all new fender wells inside of this thing because they were pretty rotten, so I added new ones, fixed this all up. Still need shocks on it. Made my own door hinges to make these doors removable. They do open and close fairly well. No problems with them shutting or closing. They all shut really well. So as you can tell, that's shut and it's flush on the side, so it's good. I had to cut the rear fenders because the rear fenders were rubbing on the tires when I went out, so I moved the front 2 inches forward and the rear 1.5 inches back. I also have Ford F-250 springs in the rear that are 2.5 inches wide, and I added the gas tank in the center of the vehicle versus on the sides. As you can tell, I shaved them down. Added the tank in the middle, just cut a hole in the middle of the bed, and then moved it, set it down inside the hole with straps holding it up. But that's about it in a nutshell. For the exterior, like I said, all new fender wells inside of it. Put them. There's the front and there's the rear. The inside is just a Scout 800. I do have a roll bar in it that I built. It turned out pretty good, I think. I've got some work to do on the liner, and this thing's pretty crappy. But I ran it all the way back to the back, leaving some room for the kids in the back or passengers so that they have some room. And ran it all the way down. It's just a 4-point now, but I needed to add the ones on the side, but I'm running out of time to do it, so I just left them as it is right now. It's better than nothing. Seats are out of a Dodge Stratus. Made my own seat brackets. And it rides pretty well, considering how tall it is. It's a 3-speed. As you can tell, the door's shut. Pretty decent. Like I said, I made these. All I did was just took a plate of steel and cut those. I made a tab for here, 2 tabs on the bottom, and welded this one on the flat plate that's on this side. So when I pull this pin out, I can just pull the door right off. I know a lot of people are making it to where it's one on the bottom, one on the top, and it's got a post on it that slides down inside the hole, which is fine too. But I kind of went for this design, and it's the way that anything Scout and Ames, Iowa does theirs, and I thought it's probably going to work for me as well. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The motor's pretty greasy, but it only has 35,000 original miles, so it drives pretty good. I plan on doing my upgrades of electric windshield wipers. I've got vacuum in here now, which are terrible. Electric windshield wipers, I need to get it painted and get all my decals done up. I'd like to change the motor out possibly, if not the motor, the gears, switch over to a 513 with a locker in the front, and possibly weld the rear. I know it's going to suck eating my tires up and chirping and stuff, so I decide to go with lockers front and rear for the future. And that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and leave comments if you like. Appreciate it.